Leadership is crucial, and the best way you lead is by example and by being a role model for providing the best kind of leadership. And, sometimes you see people who are not good leaders and they create chaos and they create problems for themselves because they don't know how to lead.
One thing we had discussed, you were telling me a lot about the cultural differences. Somebody who is an American filmmaker, African American, and who is African filmmaker in Africa, there's still quite a cultural difference because of where they've been raised, how they've been raised, all this. So somebody from Africa might send a type of message on an inbox on social media where somebody in America is like, whoa, dude, I don't know. And this is where you're helping to bridge the gap. You have a couple of people who you're working with now, and you can help messaging. You can help, first of all, you ask the filmmaker in Africa, hey, who are you trying to talk to? That's step one. What are you trying to say? Okay, now let's create the message. Why is that so important?
It's very important because it's very easy to be misunderstood. And those misunderstandings might be something simple, or they might be something that will close a door on your project. So you have to be very careful to make sure that your delivery and your approach is appropriate. You don't want to be perceived as having an inappropriate behavior coming into this, because again, you're trying to take your project to the next level. You're taking it to where a larger audience, where a larger distribution of your project can be seen. And then from that, it will give you more energy, more inertia for more projects in the future.
And you deserve to be paid for it, and have absolutely no shame in asking for it whatsoever. And a lot of the times when people understand that you put a price immediately on your work, they understand that you already have a very clear understanding that you are worth something.
You're making a good point here, Eric. It's hard to get somebody to give you money after you've already been an intern for them, or after they've paid you less. There's a lot of people in California who know Spielberg, and they're not really in the game.
Yeah, they're just Joe Schmoes, man. Yeah.
So it is better to meet somebody who's at your level, somebody who you're coming up with, and when you guys get ready to produce a film together, you're already building together. Yeah. So that's a great point, to meet the crews and meet the people who know Spielberg. But if you actually met him, what are you going to say to him that is a good enough pitch at his experience level where he's going to take you serious?
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. With that, just work on your what we call in the business, we call it our elevator pitch, where basically you walk into an elevator. Steven Spielberg's right there. You got 30 seconds before he gets off his elevator. What are you going to say to him in the amount of time that he's right there to capture his attention? To
film or an independent feature film, either way. And their friend has a music video out there, and he's like, hey, we're going to use your music video in the background of, on a TV screen back here while the scene's going on. But they don't sign any paperwork. They don't do anything. And then 3 years later, this movie's doing okay on an online platform, and the friend is like, hey, you have my music video in your movie. What could happen, or is that a scenario, or is that a thing? Can we talk that scenario out?
Definitely. I mean, you need to have permission from everything that is not an original piece of film, anything that's recorded prior to your making the film. You need to have clearance. You need to have permission from whoever owns that.
Knowing your audience when they're creating the screenplay and the script. But when it comes to business, most of those creatives, they fail to really consider knowing your audience, which is the executive producer. The executive producer is now, in this case, the audience, because they have to talk to them about the money, which is always a different audience than who's watching the movie or the content that's being created. So that's the part about the business that for an independent filmmaker might be difficult to figure out at first. So this is the part I'd like you to explain is there's union Hollywood projects. Then there's the independent film world, which is an amazing time to be in right now. How do you explain the difference? What is the difference?
George, I heard a story once, actually, an analogy that put it together quite well. There's, the difference between the two.